Today's I Paint Your Life live painting, and today we're working on a painting based on this photograph from Bruce, which we should be able to see. There it is on the screen there. As you can see, it's a beautiful customised VW Beetle that belongs to Bruce. I don't know whether he's customised himself. I guess he has, probably. But it's a beautiful machine, and it's a lovely, lovely photograph to be working from. It presents so many different challenges. And so far this morning we have been dealing with masking, we've been dealing with splattering, we've been flicking, we've been all sorts of things, and we've ended up with this. There we go. That's where we're at the moment. I've still got some masking on the car that I put on earlier, but what we're going to do now is we're going to start working on the car in earnest. And what the next stage for me is to put on the sharp lines with the pigment pens, so that we get really nice sharp dark lines that won't get covered by the watercolour, and to add a little bit more masking here and there. We can now take off the masking that we put onto the wheels, which sadly is also removing quite a bit of the underdrawing, so I'm going to have to go over that carefully and make sure that I've got that right. It's a bit pot luck with the latex. Sometimes it doesn't bother the underdrawing that much, and other times it does. So not to worry. There's no business. Oh, whoops! I'll put that back on with masking in a bit. Like show business, as they say. And anything that's possible. Let's take this one off as well. And let's just take a pencil. If I can see the pencil. Where's my pencil? It was here a bit ago. I was working with it. Oh, there it is. Can't see for looking. And just go around and just check I'm putting in the things in the right place here. To make sure that this is right. It took me a while to get the technique of dealing with these hubcaps and alloy wheels on these vehicles in a way that kept them crisp, and in the end the answer was the pigment pens and the sharp line that you get with that. Without them, the masking gives this sort of roughness, which in certain circumstances is nice, it's fine, but in other circumstances it's not what you want. Making sure that it's all going in the right place. the thing you do not want in a car painting is wonky wheels. And it's very, very easy indeed to get wonky wheels, and it spoils the whole thing. These wheels that Bruce has put on this car are not going to have been cheap. They will have been a big investment. And I'm painting, I'm well aware that I'm painting his pride and joy here. And it gives me a duty of care, so to speak, really, to make sure that I do it nicely for him. So let's just use the pigment pens just to sharpen up these lines. It doesn't matter too much on this bit because this is going to be the tyres, and they'll sort of fade into the darkness. Where it does matter is here, because this line needs to be sharp. This is metal. Metal gives a sharp, clear, crisp edge. And to do it wonky is not to do it justice. It's identifying all the time in any image, whether it's a car, whether it's a person, whether it's a scene. Identifying what is man-made, and hence often has very delineated sharp edges, and what's natural, which is usually very, very different, is very much more random, much softer. Nature likes wonky lines. It does not like straight lines, but man makes straight lines, and so it's in many scenes it's that combination between the two. Now what I'm going to do on the back wheel here is I'm going to actually use the pigment pens to put in the detail, or some of the detail, in the wheels. Because I've found that this method looks nicer on a car painting than if I was to blob it on with a paintbrush. Not that I blob things on with the paintbrushes, but even the finest tip paintbrush can't compete with this 0.05 of a millimetre pen. That's it. Once the paint is added to that, that will look great. And the same goes for this baby here. Not much in the way, we can do these ones, we'll do these ones with the paintbrush, I think. I don't know, maybe we'll support what we're going to do with the paintbrush with just with a line or so. Well, I will put in with the liner, actually with this thicker one, there it is the holes in the wheels, because they are always extremely dark. And also the end on the hub here. There are a few indications with the slightly finer line, some of which will probably disappear underneath the paint, but they'll help. There's also the bit here that the you have to be very, very careful when you're doing this bit. Very diligent, because this stuff don't take off. This stuff stays on. But that's the joy of it when you're actually trying to paint this detail. It's amazing how these few lines in the darkest of darks make the difference between sometimes looking sharp and these lines that we mustn't forget, you see, these lines that we're working at, they are made by machines. All this metal has been cut and pressed and moulded into shape by machinery, and it's done it to specifically achieve sharp edges and sharp lines. Let's have a look here. I used to put all this detail in at the end, and then I realised that if I do it like this, at the beginning with the pigment pens, even if it's just the lines, even if it's just the sharp lines rather than not painting in the pigment pens, but giving a line. It's like these lines, these are the lines where the rubbers go, and they're a part of them. They are black. So there's the windscreen wiper and the wiper mechanism, wiper motor. That's it. Then I will paint in the actual dark area there with paint. There's a line. That's a wobbly white line. That's, yeah. Sometimes you've done it and you've got to analyse what you've done before to make sure that you don't use the wrong line as a guide. Okay, I think that's enough of that. And maybe a little touch around there. Okay, now to check the masking on the car. All this is going to save us an awful lot, all this taking time. Is going to save us an awful lot of umming and ahhing, and it's going to make sure that when we start putting the paint on, that we're not going to lose things. We don't want to lose things. That's fatal. Let's just clean up this arch. So another thing is that this pen, this pigment it's permanent. It's not going to, whereas watercolour will blur and run as you put another colour on top of it, which is, you know, one of the great things of watercolour. You can get it to do that. These don't. This won't run. I can put water on top of that, and it'll still be there. It's not going to move. It's not going to go anywhere. Right. Let's take a look at this. Some of this we will be able to mask out. All the bits we can just do with the old paintbrush. See, there's a line. There's a line down the back. What am I doing? You can't see the mouse. I must sort that out. Down here, there's a line on the painting, on the photograph, that is very sharp and comes down to an area here that's got a glint on it. That we can save with some masking fluid. And we can even, to get it, make sure that we get it sharp, because this is a sharp line, we can even put it in with a ruler to make sure that we get it right. Let's just open out the jaws of the, that's better. That, see, that's safe now. And it comes onto this area here, which we can also make sure that we protect. Up there we don't need to, because that is a softer line. We've already got this here. I'm going to put a line there. There is a part of the window that I want to protect that's here. Doesn't matter if I go over that pigment. That can be left. I've already got the line going round there protected. as the bonnet comes, I don't think you call it the bonnet, is it in America? Is it the hood in America, this? As it comes over here, there is a section just about here where it glints through. We can put a bit of masking on there, and the same on this line here. Round about there, there's a glint. Can always put them on at the end if I need to, with a white pen, which will do the job. There's a glint that I want to save here. And another one that I want to save there. Again, I've got on the headlights, there's an area there and there. That we'll do with the, and that's already been done. Right, there's a line in the paintwork. There's here. There. And another one below it. Now we will mark these out. They will in the end be blue. But for the moment, we'll just save them. Same goes here. There's a line across and a line across. Over here, there's a line I want to save. I've already got the masking on down here that I put on before, that's still intact. They were a little bit shabby at that point. Let's take that off and do it again. Put this bit on here. Oh, fill the pen. This on the wheel arch. And let's just mask out this bit here where the flare is going to come down. Even though we'll flare it, we'll sort of flare it out with the paint below, but it's a good start. And I think maybe a bit here. All in all, as my mother used to say, that's shallot. And shallots are onions. There we go. going to look and see if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. As you can see now, we've just by adding those dark lines, we can see a sharpness of the car starting to appear almost from nowhere. And now we can take a good look at concentration on the paintwork, which we want to make it glow. We want to make it shine. So a sip of me drink. Ah, so nice. Sometimes you need a hot drink, even on a warm day. Can't beat it. Or is that an English thing? Is that a very English thing? A cup of tea on a hot day? Right. This picture, from my point of view, is going to be painted predominantly in ultramarine blue. There will be an area where on the bonnet, predominantly around here, and in parts of the wing and over the top here, where it warms. I don't know whether you can see it here. Here it's warmer, and that is probably going to be done with manganese blue, which should work well together with the ultramarine. You have to be careful sometimes combining these colours. Some combine well and some go grainy when you combine them. Certain blues, I can't remember which ones they are now, is it cobalt that goes grainy? But certain blues, when you combine them with other colours, will go grainy on the paper, and you don't want that with a car. Well, there's a smoothness that you want on a car. So we're going to do this in stages. We're going to do it in stages. We're going to put on a wash of the main, what I would call the main mid colour, which is going to come. Doing it with the mouse again. You can't see the mouse, honestly, Stephen. You can see this though, right? If you look at that, the picture that's there. Actually, no, that wouldn't work. I was going to try and drop that back, but it won't work. If you look at the picture and you look at what I'm looking at here, over the top here, that's a little bit lighter. I'll have to be careful around here, but over the top here and down the doorpost here, across here, and in this area here, down the bonnet curve, underneath the light, and on this wing, over this wheel arch, it's all more or less the edge of the running board. It's all more or less the same shades of the mid blue. So if we get that on first, we can then go down stage by stage, darkening it. The place where we're going to have to be careful is here, where we've got the shadow, the reflection in the doorway, which is, it's lighter than these areas, and it's a slightly different colour. So we're going to have to be careful when we get into this patterning on the side. that is caused by the reflections. Other than that, we can go for it, I think. Or shall I? You know, I might change my mind. I might change my mind there, and I might actually go for doing the windows first. Yeah, I'm going to go for the windows first, I've decided. Quite often, once the windows are in, it starts to look much more done, and it helps to do when you're doing the paintwork. Windows it is. Change my mind on the fly and do that. It's my painting. You know, I think that's the answer to an awful lot of oops, I nearly dropped my brush. An awful lot of this sort of thing. I get people asking difficult questions sometimes. You know, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do the other? And a lot of the time they're not asking from a very but I say a lot of the time it's hardly ever happens, but sometimes they're not asking from a very nice point of view. They're sort of trying to get at you a little bit, but the answer to any of them in the end is, it's my painting, I'll do what I want. Literally, I'm painting it the way I see it, the way I want it. If you don't like that, I'll cheddar. Luckily, the majority of people for whom I paint these paintings enjoy them enough to pay for them. And that's all that matters in the end. If I'm happy with it, and the person who is buying it is happy with it, that's all that matters. It's usually other artists that have some kind of bee in their bonnet that will do it, but luckily there's not many. Most people are really nice, I find. Notice that in the window we will quite often basically be seeing a mini landscape painting of the sky, and of clouds, and in this case that's what we are seeing. We're seeing clouds. I'm going to take a tiny touch of yellow ochre. Got to be very careful with yellow ochre because it is an opaque colour, and opaque colours can cause problems if you put them on too thickly, because they look very different from the translucent ones, the transparent watercolours. But I'm going to put that on there. This is basically reflected clouds, but it's everything that's, I imagine by the way they look that what I'm looking at is tinted windows, and with tinted windows everything is generally a touch darker. than reality, and I want to get these clouds in a softer way than they are at the moment. I want to soften that line. That's it, that's softening it. There we go. There's a certain browniness to this, so I'm going to use a bit of, but it is dark, very dark, so I'm going to use a little bit of ivory black. Don't tend to use much black paint on the cars because it can spoil it, but this is the browny black of, it's like a roof or something. I don't mind that it's going to spread slightly into the paint above it, as long as it doesn't go too far, because just check this. Yeah. There we are. A touch of that pale yellow ochre in here, just to knock that back a bit. Yeah. There's a line there that we can take out in a minute. The bottom bit we will do when we do the body paint work. Let's go for this top bit. Not that yellow ochre. We can pop a bit here to go with the, I need to draw a line here. There's a line that I've lost with the masking out and see that needs to be put into place. It's inside the car, it's there. And then there's a bit that comes up there. Shall I risk it? No, let's protect it. Let's protect it. Just put a line of, it's just dry, isn't it? It's not been wet there. A very fine line of masking, just to, so we don't lose that edge there of the car. Make sure that we don't go and paint near that yet. stupid man, get that off there quick. I've just done one of the most stupid things that you can do. And luckily I was quick enough to rescue it. Do you know that thing that we all were talking about where you dip your brush into your tea or your coffee instead of your painting water? Yeah? I just dipped my really, really nice brush into the latex of the masking fluid. Luckily I realised what I'd done very quickly and was able to rinse it off, and it's okay. But that was a close one. That was a close one indeed. Right, let's go. I have to change this water in a minute as well. It's getting a little bit murky, but it doesn't matter for this bit because this bit's rather dark. That's it. Now you might think, why are you painting this separate from the bit below, and why are you putting that blue on? Well, the answer to that question is that this bit under here sort of fades as it goes down. There's a line there, and at one end it is paling into blue, even though as we come down here the rest of it is very dark. But if I'm going to paint the lot in the blue first, and then let's go dark, dark, dark with a combination of lamp black, not lamp black, indigo black, not indigo black, ivory black. What am I talking about? It's getting to that time of day again where I start to babble a little bit, start to make a few mistakes if I'm not careful, so be careful at this point. And touch of paint, I think. And let's get that in. As you can see now it's nice and dark. We have a lovely crisp, clean line here between the two shades. This is the shadow of this overhang on the roof that they put into this customization, which I personally think is absolutely bleeding gorgeous. To be honest, I think this is one of the nicest customizations of a beetle I've seen, and I've seen loads. I've painted loads, but I really like this one. This one, you know, if I was a rich man and could afford a beetle, which I can't anymore, can't believe the prices, but if I was a rich man and could afford a beetle, I would be very tempted by this baby. I think this is gorgeous. I really, really, really do. It's beautiful. Let's get the sharpness in there. Don't want to lose that sharpness of that line. I've got a feeling that what I'm going to do actually with this bit is to allow myself to lose it and then get it back with a different method, because I don't like the way it's looking like that. So let's take it out, and then in a while, remember, we'll bring it back in a different way that makes it look much more like what it is, which is a ray of light. I know a nice little method for that. Now what I'm doing here, I'm going to paint up to about 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to stop. And I'll probably then stop for the night. And carry on with this one again first thing in the morning. I've had people asking me about, inquiring about the prices of them. They are, when they are complete, oh God, I've got to get rid of that. They are, when they're complete, that's better, £100 plus postage, or depending on where you are in the world. If you're in the UK, your postage is £5. If you are overseas, if you're in the USA, it's £10, and it basically covers the shipping, the packing, and the insurance. They are, well, as you can see from as we're doing this here, they are literally hours and hours of work. So I ain't making a lot of money on them, and I have to sell enough of them to make it worthwhile doing it. So there we go. Get a little line in there. Get that softened off. That's it. Let's take that line there and just sharpen it up. There we are. That's better. Okay, let's make sure that that is all dry, and let's have a look at putting that mid blue into place. Making sure that everything's protected before we do. Before I do the next bit, I'm going to just disappear for 2 minutes and get some fresh water. Actually, before I do that, I'll clean off a couple of the bits in this palette with the dirty water and a piece of kitchen roll, so that I give myself enough shades of blue to work with as I'm doing this. I could actually at this point possibly do the same thing as I did yesterday with this blue paint and use a saucer, but I think I'm going to use the flower palette down here, just cleaning off the residual paint from everything else that I've been doing. Use these actually. I tell you what, I've decided to get rid of all the paint on this palette. I've just wetted it down there. That's what I've been using to do the ground and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to go and just rinse that and change my water, and I'll be back to start putting some paint on the bodywork. Let's put it squared up for you so you can see it. And be back in a minute. Won't be long. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Let's have a look at this then. Now, I've done something today that I've not done before. And on the other paintings, I've shown you the original that I'm working from occasionally, but basically I've just worked on the painting. You've been able to see me work on the painting. On this one, I thought I'd do something different, and I've just put the picture up in the corner. I don't know whether you're finding it more enjoyable because there's a picture in the corner that you can reference, or whether you prefer it without and just to see the painting appear. I'd be very interested to know what you think. I'm just having a banana to keep me going. It's a bit mushy, and actually it's not brilliant, but never mind. cleaned the palette, ready, nice and shiny. I've got some fresh water. And I'm ready to put on the first coats of the bodywork. It's quite important to get this first layer right, because everything else is going to relate to it. I think we are going more or less with a pure ultramarine most of the time here. So let's just clean up this little bit of ultramarine here, because I've been dipping into the pot as I've been doing the darks as well, so I don't want it to be right. Let's I have somewhere, hold on, maybe you'd like to see this if I can find it. I think I put it in this cupboard. Did I? Oh, maybe I didn't. No, that's alright. I don't know where I put it. I have somewhere, it may be in one of the bottom drawers actually. So look. No. I have a sheet that I did that shows all the blues that I've got and what they're like. And it's a good reference for seeing what you can do with the blues. Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. Sometimes to give yourself some reference, it's a good idea to do some samples. And so I do these swatches, and here you can see the swatches that I've done here, and starting with the dark, pure, a lot of pigment on there, and looking at the different shades, and then taking it through and seeing how they lighten up. That's an important thing. Seeing how they lighten up as you move over. Now this is the phthalocyanide blue, which I've got here. This is the ultramarine, which is the one that we're going to be using. This is cerulean, and this is manganese. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting. You know, I was talking before about the different machines that you can view the image on that you're painting. The fact that you will see different colours than I can see in front of me. If we look at the bigger painting, you will see there the light on the bonnet of the car, or the hood of the car, sorry you American people, is very much nearly spot on with the manganese blue that you can see here. But what I'm looking at here, you can't see it. What I'm looking at here is my tablet. It's in front of me, and that's where I'm working from. And on my tablet, it's not that manganese blue at all. It's a definite cerulean blue. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because you're seeing one colour and I'm seeing another colour, and I'm holding these for you to see now. I've no idea what you're seeing because every machine is different. But these swatches are a great idea. This is how to find out what each colour will do as you thin it down, because of course most of the time we're working with it thinned down and we want to see how it'll work, so it's a useful thing to do. Here's an interesting thing as well. I was talking about this the other day. When you're buying your paints, you need to know which paint works for you, and what you can see here is these two paints here are both called Payne's Grey, but I don't know how well you can spot the difference on your screen. But this is Winsor & Newton Payne's Grey, which is very much on the blue spectrum. This, on the other hand, is De La Roni Payne's Grey, which is very much greyer. So when you're filling your paints up, when you're gonna, renew your paints, you want to make sure you use the same Payne's Grey that that you've used before. And so you want to make sure you buy the right one. And I don't think I've got a tube there of the paints, but that's the one that I use. I use the Winsor & Newton Payne's Grey. I like the bluiness of it. If you don't make notes like this, then you do tend to forget. Then you buy a pot of paint and you put it in, you get it out, you start to use it and you go, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't the colour that I use. Anyway, that was a little bit of something different. We established there that I'm going to work actually with what I can see in front of me on my tablet. I think it goes better. So we'll be working mainly with ultramarine blue, with a touch here and there on the bonnet or hood, and down the front here of cerulean probably. I have to be careful with the cerulean because the cerulean is an opaque colour, so we have to make sure that we keep it watered down. Okay, enough chat, let's get some paint on. So I'm going for the mid colour, the mid blue colour. Let's get a tester. Make sure we've got what we want. So I've got a test strip. A test strip. These are invaluable, these test strips. And let's put the blue on. Let's make sure that we've got the right consistency of it. The way that it's reacting on these strips is not the way it will react on this paper. This is because these are old, and when you put the paint on the paper, the older it gets, the more it works differently. There we go, that's actually on the correct side. That was the other side. But it tends to soak more when it gets old. If you pick up I did try more than once to pick up on a painting, a watercolour painting that I'd started, goodness knows, a few years before, and it had just been left on a board. And I picked it up one time and thought, oh, I'll do some more work on this. And I started to try and apply paint to it, and it was horrible. It was like working on blotting paper. It just did not do it. It was, ooh. So, yeah, let's have a look anyway. Let's get some paint on. Let's start at the top. And we'll put this on. Is that going to be the right colour? Question is it? Question and answer is no, I don't think it is. I'm going to mix that a little bit with some manganese and just change it slightly. Let's try that. That's better. That is better. Now this area at the back here is lighter, so we can put the paint on here. We want to keep it going right. Right, it's next to that one because we want it to be lighter, but we want it to gently float into that one. Now it is considerably lighter, so let's take some of it off. Let's get a brush and smooth that out. Got a little bit of the masking fluid on there, I have to be careful of that. That's going to work okay. I'm happier with that colour. We can put it all over here because we're going to put darker colours over the top of it. So taking care not to go too wild because this area here is going to be a different colour. And these unusual sort of highlighty bits coming down the side of the car. So keep that light. Again over the wheel arch, the wheel arch, not arch. Here we'll come down with this colour. All this strange patchwork of blues will all come together in the end, so don't panic if you look and you think, oh my god, it's all going wrong, it's all just looking like some strange checkerboard of, because it will, trust me, it will come together in the end and look fine. And it will look right. Trust me, I'm a doctor. I am actually. But I'm not a medical doctor, I am a doctor of music. But I still think that allows me to say, trust me, I'm a doctor. I'm not Doctor Who, I'm not the doctor, I'm a doctor. We want to come down here with this shade. a bit too light, I think. Now put a bit more pigment back into it. Up the doorpost. For some reason my brain has been invaded by Neil Diamond. Who knows why? Let's mix a bit more of this mixture of ultramarine and manganese. A little bit more manganese at this point, I think. Don't want to go over one. Let's go down the side of the hood. Not the, I said it in the American way, I don't know why. Or the bonnet, as we say in England. Now then, being quite carefully because this is going to go into the manganese. Maybe I should paint the manganese on first actually at this point. Yeah, I think maybe I will. Yeah, I'll put the manganese on first. Not the manganese. I decided to go with what's name didn't turn up manganese. Cerulean. Let's give it a go, see what happens. See if we can go darker. As we come down here. Not that dark maybe, but definitely darker. This reminds me, let's see if I can do something here. Go into there. Not done this before, so we'll have to see what happens. That's odd. Oh, I see. Let's just move that. Oh, don't want that at all. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's change the mode. I'm trying to show you something here. Just you have to bear with me for a second. Let's me view. Full screen interface. That doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Oh, this is a bit irritating. Let's see if I can find it. Let's just do it as